Anything?
Go ahead.
What are you working on now?
Interesting question. I have a lot of things going, but I had a book accepted, and it's no longer accepted for reasons of a publisher no longer being in existence. It was called Invasion of the Weirdos, and it's totally different from Death Thing in that it's more of like a psychedelic, time-traveling, interdimensional being kind of thing. It takes place in Austin, and so I'm looking for a publisher there. I just finished a novella called Bang Face, and the unofficial subtitle is And the Glory Hole. And it's about I once heard a quote by a good friend. He told me he took shrooms and he went underneath, he went in the shallow end of the pool, looked down and saw H.P. Lovecraft. And H.P. Lovecraft told him, any portal you see, you must go through. And so basically these glory holes are portals. And there's a government conspiracy and all that kind of stuff. But Bang Face in the Glory Hole. And that should be coming out soon. Otherwise I'm working on a couple other things, short stories and stuff. So, yeah.
What about the cat food that you brought?
Yeah, cat food, short stories. I do a lot of readings and like to have something to sell. Bands get to do it.
Yeah.
And it's not, it's self-published basically, but it's just a chat book to kind of make some money while you're drinking beer. But yeah, there's short stories I've had published elsewhere, and I have there's 7 stories in this. Well, actually 8 stories. But yeah, it's mostly the stories are weird. I deal a lot with like paranoia. I'm a very paranoid person, a very anxious person. I don't know if you can tell, I'm sweating quite a bit here. But yeah, it's a lot of like suffocation kind of stories. Does that sound good to everybody?
Is that where the title comes from?
So the title actually comes from there's a stray cat that jumps through a window in this story, and it's kind of the catalyst to some murder. So that's where the title comes from. Any other questions?
What are your influences?
My favorite writer pretty much he's a contemporary, he's a Texan, Joe Lansdale. He's my absolute favorite. And I was writing weird stories, and I remember the first story I read by him was, I think it's called The Firehouse Dog. And it's about a guy who got fired from the fire department, and the only job they could offer him was to be the firehouse dog. And I read that, I was like, oh, maybe there's a market for some of the stuff I write. And so he's just my favorite. And now he's getting huge. He won the Raymond some big award, huge award, mainstream award, and it also has a TV series, Happen Leonard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so he's getting huge. John Shirley, who's very much on the extreme side of horror, he's also an influence. Yeah, Kurt Vonnegut, I think it's everyone's favorite author when they're in college and stuff. And definitely one of my favorites still. So.
Good trio.
Yeah. Did you have a question?
You said this may be a little personal. You said something bad happened to you. Was that the publisher going out of business, or?
But yeah. I mean, small press stuff. It's the labor of love, a lot like bookstores are, and a lot of times there's not a lot of money in it, and they take risks, and sometimes someone gets sick, something happens, means the labor of love can no longer exist. And that's just kind of happened. It's some bad luck, but they gave me a shot, and Death Thing, honestly, it did a lot better than I could have done on my own. Met a lot of great people, and made a lot of good friends, and got reviews, and got a year-end list and all that kind of stuff. And it was a great experience. A little unfortunate, a little sad. This is brand new news. I think it was yesterday I heard about it. But yeah, so it's just happened. It's just publisher can't stay in business if things are going wrong all over the place. They're not Random House or something. They're just a small Arkansas guy who publishes stuff like cats jumping through windows and catalyst to murder. It's not a huge market. So, yeah.
Was Death Thing your first novella?
Death Thing was my first novella. Yeah. Yeah. Before I was just writing stories. It progressed. When I was in high school and college, I wrote poetry like everyone knows it. And then I started noticing my poetry got more narrative, and it became flash fiction and short stories, and then really long short stories. And Death Thing was just kind of a natural progression. So yeah. Anybody else? Anything? Any questions? All right.
Thanks very much.
Yeah, thanks for having me.